You wanting to one-shot champions on endgame activity, but not have to use consecration for your prismatic build? Well, check out this Peregrine Greaves Titan build that I have created. Actually, this is more just one I've been updating over time. It gives absolute stupid amount of buffs to you, while also pretty much making you unkillable a lot of the time, and also giving you the ability to, again, one-shot champions, yellow bar bosses, and stuff like that. But before we get into the video, know you can follow me over on YouTube and Twitter, Byrdman778. Give a thumbs up on the video. Let me know something you're interested in seeing down below, and subscribe, become a member, and also make sure you're checking out the dim link in the description, as well as check out my max roll page where I'm a contributor with some other Destiny 2 content creators. Now, let's get into the build. Now, we always like to start off with the exotic for this build, and it's going to be the Peregrine Greaves. It reads Peregrine Strike, all shoulder charge abilities, but specifically for this build, it's Hammer Strike. Deal bonus damage when activated in air, damaging mini bosses, tormentors, or champions. With your shoulder charge, refunds the melee and provides a small benefit to airborne effectiveness stat for all weapons. The biggest thing about this is the fact that it's giving you that ability to essentially just absolutely nuke those endgame enemies, again, like champions, tormentors, and mini bosses, some things like subjugators, stuff like that, or even just like yellow bar enemies as is. Like if there's just like a yellow bar knight in front of you, you are going to get that hammer strike back whenever you hit that target. It's also, again, going to do mass amounts of damage. So these have been a big favorite of mine for a while, and the fact that they've actually been able to keep up with Prismatic is so nice. Now let's talk about the Prismatic subclass. First up, for our super, we're going to be running Blade Fury. The biggest reason why we're running this is one of the fragments that we have essentially going to help give us woven mail, because we're going to be in the thick of it a whole lot, and we're also going to be able to create a lot of orbs for ourselves with this build. So obviously it's going to be really beneficial to kind of have that damage reduction on us at all times. For the abilities, I've been running just Thruster. Again, it's just nice being able to, like, you know, dodge backwards, especially like a melee focused build. Being able to close that gap faster with this is really nice. When it comes to the melee, we're going to be running Hammer Strike. Now, this is really great for a couple different reasons. One, obviously we're able to one-shot enemies with it. It's a light ability, so it's going to really help out with our Transcendence bar. And also it's going to create an ignition on a target. That's great for a couple different reasons. One, it's just big explosions around you. Again, especially against like champions and stuff like that are likely going to have a lot of ads around them. You're able to hit them, they explode, and just explodes all the enemies. But again, talking about champions, specifically Unstoppables, it's going to be able to intrinsically stun them. So it's a great way to just be able to do that on the fly. And when it comes to our grenade, we're going to be running a Shackle Grenade. I really like this because, one, it's going to be an easy way for us to do the opposite side of light, do the darkness side of our Transcendence bar, do a debuff that's going to help one of our fragments, and also be able to, you know, kind of just like take enemies out of the fight. And then again, talking like on that champion side of things, it's able to intrinsically stun Unstoppables instead. But the biggest reason why we really like this, again, is the fact that it's going to put a darkness debuff on a target. So we'll talk about that here in a second. Our aspects, we're going to be running Knockout. So critically wounding a target or breaking their shield, it's going to give you that extra melee range and damage, and fill you with arc energy, also making you amplified. Now, a couple different reasons why this is great. Obviously, having that amplification is going to make us faster, especially with like a melee build. Being able, again, like move, close the gap between those targets is really nice. But it's also going to help give us a little bit of melee energy as we're just like kind of like punching along. Being able to generate a little bit of that just like on the fly for ourselves is really nice. And also we're going to be running Diamond Lance. Biggest reason, a couple different things. One, Shatter's great right now. Two, it's able to take enemies out of the fight. Three, intrinsically is able to take on Unstoppable and Overload champions, be able to stun them. And then again, just be able to do another darkness debuff on targets to help out what we're about to talk about here in a second. For our fragments, the probably most important one for this setup in my mind is going to be Faceted Protection. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage. And then while Transcendent, this effect is increased. This is going to work really great in conjunction with Galvanic Armor in our artifact mod that we'll talk about later. Essentially just giving you a lot of damage reduction on top of that woven mail damage reduction. Faceted Courage is going to be that one that we keep talking about, like debuffs and stuff like that. Your Arc, Solar, and Void abilities deal increased damage to targets afflicted by darkness debuffs. Now we have a couple different ways of doing that. Obviously, we are able to freeze targets with our Diamond Lance. We are able to suspend targets as well as unravel them whenever we throw like a tangle at them or something like that. So that's just a couple different ways to do it, but again, you always have like that easy activization with your shackle grenade, so definitely lean on that. Facet of Blessing: melee final blows start health regeneration, while Transcendent, the melee final blows start health regeneration for you and nearby allies. This is a perfect way for keeping our health up in conjunction with something, you know, kind of like Knockout. Being able to just like consistently just stay in the thick of it, have high damage reduction, and knowing that the second I'm able to melee an enemy out, I'm going to just instantly get all that health back. Facet of Sacrifice: while you have an Arc Solar Void buff, ability final blows grant bonus darkness transcendence energy. We are getting that, I mean, almost all three of those, Arc and Solar, no matter what, from Amplified and Radiant, that we're going to get from our artifact. So easy way to just ensure that we're going to have that full transcendence bar available to like crutch on in a pickle is always nice. And then Facet of Purpose: picking up Orbit Power is going to give us Woven Mail since we have that Blade Fury on. Now I will say you are able to like change this around for something else. You know, if you are wanting to use Twilight Arsenal just because you want to, you know, have that throwable super, having an Overshield is not a bad thing whatsoever. I just personally prefer having the Woven Mail, especially for the fact that I'm going to be in the thick of it all the time. I'm already going to have good health regeneration. I'm already going to be able to do all that stuff, so being able to like take out some extra punches is nice. Now when it comes to weapons, the only one I'm really going to like say is a hard you got to use is going to be Tractor Cannon. Easy way to put a weaknessing debuff on targets, easy way to suppress them and take them out of the fight. This has always been a really good one for Peregrine Greaves and just melee builds in general, for the fact that, again, it's just making your life 10 times easier, especially, again, really harping on the suppression part of it. Enemies just like standing there and giving me time to like set up my Peregrine Strike is always really nice. Now, when it comes to the armor mods and everything we're going to be using for this setup, first up on our helmet, we're going to be using hands-on. We're going to be meleeing literally all the time, so we're always going to have our super available for you. I will say that Blade Fury is kind of just like a panic switch more than anything. You don't really need to like use it all that much, but at the same time, you're going to have your super all the time, so might as well. And then also have a special ammo and a heavy ammo finder on as well. Is just nice just to keep up your ammo economy. On our gloves, triple heavy-handed, having 3 of these means we're going to have a 1-second cooldown between our melees. Do know, Knockout, whenever you have it active, your regular melee does count as a powered melee. So you are going to have consistent orb generation, meaning you will always be radiant. You will always have Woven Mail available to you. Chest piece, it's just across the board, just resistance mods that are, you know, the best for you. I will say having like a melee one wouldn't be too bad. Again, since you're just kind of in the thick of it, but typically I just put on one for each of the light subclasses just to cover my bases. On your legs, recuperation's great to have just to get, I mean, again, more health whenever you are getting those melee attacks. Absolution to get some energy whenever you pick up an Orb of Power. And then Invigoration so that you're getting grenade cooldown whenever you pick up an Orb of Power. And then finally on our Titan Mark and Distribution, because whenever we use that thruster on your targets, we're going to get some cooldowns for all of our abilities. 1-2 Finisher, essentially giving you just an easy way to get your melee back in case, like, you know, use that Peregrine Strike against just like a group of mobs just to get that detonation off. You're obviously going to lose it, so this is a great way to just like go up an enemy, finish them real quick, and get that back for yourself. And then a powerful attraction just to pull in all those orbs that are going to be around you. Now for the artifact, pretty much everything's going to be coming from the 4th and 5th column. First up, we're going to be using Radiant Orbs. Whenever we pick up that Orb Power, we're going to come Radiant. Great way for us to handle those barrier champions if they throw up their bubble. And then also Galvanic Armor. This one's probably the most important. While you have the Prismatic subclass equipped, incoming damage from combatants is reduced while amplified. We're going to be amplified literally all the time. So we're going to have a couple different ways to have that damage reduction available to us. And then that 5th column, Shield Crush. Whenever we have that Woven Mail, our melee is going to recharge faster and deal increased damage. And we're also going to be getting Grenade recharge rate back from our Amplified and Radiant. And then finally, Transference, gain increased grenade and melee damage while Transcendent. And then our Weapon Final Blows are going to give us some energy back. You're pretty much going to be meleeing the whole time, so don't really worry about it. But at the same time, whenever Transference goes out, you're almost going to instantly have it back up from just shackling enemies, freezing them, and just meleeing all together. Now, how this is able to handle all of the different champions in the game. First up, for barriers, obviously you can just weaken them and then run up and one-shot them real quick with Peregrine Greaves before they're able to put up their bubble. But at the same time, you do have Radiant available literally all the time, so just pick a weapon. I've been using like the Aikilo shotgun It's a great way to just strip that shield real fast and then just go to town on them. Unstoppable, we're going to get that from our ignitions, from our hammer strike, or from our shackle grenade, being able to suspend them. So great way to do that. And then overloads, we're going to be able to suppress targets with our tractor cannon. So that's an easy way. Do know you can also just freeze them with a diamond lance if you need to. But most of the time that tractor cannon will do pretty much the entire job for you. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy. Again, I'm really happy that I was able to make a setup that wasn't just like consecration focused and just doing that all the time. Being able to kind of go to those more root builds that we had before the final shape in Prismatic is just really nice. So make sure you give it a thumbs up on the video and let me know something else you want to see down below. Subscribe, become a member, and follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at Byrdman778. Guys, thank you so much. Hope you have a great night, day, whatever it may be.